Pete, this is not one of these new laws. What's going on?
Right. This is a law that Indiana passed when Mike Pence was the governor. He signed it into law. It had two provisions, and the Supreme Court today upheld one of those provisions. This was a provision of state law that regulated and restricted how fetal remains were to be dealt with after an abortion. They could not be disposed of as medical waste, the state law said. They had to be either cremated or buried, dealt with like any other person. The lower courts invalidated that provision, but today the Supreme Court upheld that part of the law. So that is now upheld by the Supreme Court. The second part of the law restricted the circumstances in which a woman could seek an abortion. It barred abortion providers from doing abortions for basically parents who were expecting to have a Down syndrome child. The law was actually broader than that. It said you can't make abortion decisions based on sex, race, or disability selective abortions. And today the Supreme Court affirmed the lower court decision that invalidated that provision. What the Supreme Court's very brief decision on this says is we're not going to take this case because only the Seventh Circuit has thus far addressed this kind of law. We follow our ordinary practice of denying these cases insofar as they raise legal issues that haven't been considered by other courts of appeals. So in other words, the Supreme Court is saying in this area of the law, we generally don't take cases unless there's a split among the circuits. There really is only one circuit that's dealt with this. So this is a partial victory for
Pete,
opponents of abortion rights in Indiana.
So more restriction, less restriction, or they're not going to touch it?
More restriction in the sense that they upheld a part of the Indiana law that restricts how fetal remains are dealt with. They cannot be disposed of as medical waste, but they invalidated the part of the law that would make it harder to get an abortion in the first place.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.